What is up, everybody? This is a very special edition of Two Sweet Cosplays podcast here. Most of you may know me. My name is Andy. I go by the name WildCard here. I'm going solo on this little podcast project here. But I got a good friend of mine here, Brian. He's going to be helping me out here while we talk about some very important topics that happened this past weekend. There.
Yes, indeed. If you're one of the 10 people who knows me on the internet, I go by Omega BR, live and in person and unmasked, and glad to be here with you, Andy.
Yeah,
we had quite a big weekend indeed.
Quite a bit.
Nice little arts and crafts fair down in Bloomingdale, I think it was. 800 oil paintings must be sold.
Yeah. I was gonna say AEW really made its mark in this area here. But let's just dive on into it here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So I mean. Wow, it was an incredible weekend to say the least there too. I mean, overall, what were your thoughts on that?
Well, even beyond the weekend, just the whole week was a buzz. From that first Dynamite on Wednesday all the way to All Out itself. Just every just not even here being in Chicago, but all on the internet and social media and everything. Everybody just really excited that wrestling was back. I mean, I hesitate to call All Out AEW's WrestleMania, but in many ways, that's what it is, at least right now. It feels like it.
It definitely feels like it, though, for sure there,
certainly a lot of comparisons to a certain WrestleMania online.
Yeah. I was going to say that, it definitely had that WrestleMania vibe there. But it all started with Dynamite. I mean, that was the first show that they had to kick off there, too, at the Now Arena.
The Now Arena, the former Sears Center.
It's now taken over by a vitamin company there.
Supplements. I got a nice Now pack of cards.
I actually take their supplements. It's actually quite good there.
You don't say.
So, so I definitely recommend buying your Now products right there. So, it's a little cheap plug right there. So.
Sponsor us.
Yep. So, this podcast has been brought to you by Now. So, yes. All right.
Whether they knew it or not.
But. Either if they ever find out, though. So, so I actually was not able to go to the show, but I did get a chance to watch it. But, Brian, you had an opportunity to go there.
Yeah,
right?
I was there. I bought the combo pack, the best seat that money can buy, row 11, seat 11 on the floor. But I actually did manage to get a better seat for Dynamite. I was right there up against the barricade, which I highly recommend, if you're able to do it. The barricade seats are a lot of fun. You get some hand slaps, you get some signs shown and such.
You get to be TNT famous right there for a little bit. Right?
You might go back and see if you can see me. I was wearing this exact same getup. So.
There you go.
But the thing about Dynamite, at least this particular Dynamite, it's obviously the last one before All Out, so they're not going to bust out a lot of major stuff. They had several dark tapings. One of the things I appreciate about AEW is Tony Khan makes an appearance virtually at every show. Not when the cameras are rolling, at least not when the TV cameras are rolling. They always put it on YouTube. But
sure.
He comes out, he gets the crowd hype. Of course, he's from this area. He's referencing stuff in town and just getting everybody pumped. It's the first big show of the weekend. And yeah, I mean, it's when I talk about like excitement, like I was at Raw at the Allstate several weeks back.
Okay.
And people are excited. Everybody's always excited to be there if it's live. But with AEW, it's like it's sort of like WWE presents their product, and it's like, here it is, and you're here to see it, and we're glad you're here, but here it is. Whereas AEW, especially with all the fan interaction, of course, Tony Khan, it's like, here's Tony actually on the stage saying, hey, we're really glad you're here. I'm really excited you're here. Here's what's going to happen. Here's going to be matches after the show. He's stomping his feet on the stage. You can tell he's excited. And
that just gets the crowd really pumped up for that there, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they see that you made a really good point right there, too, because that's sort of the vibe that I got from Tony when, he would come out and actually talk to the fans there, too. I mean, he just really gets them hyped up. I mean, this is the guy who basically owns AEW here, too.
Sure.
So, and he's just basically basically just being a hands-on guy who just wants to get his hands dirty, get involved with the fans, and just contribute his part too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not doing it in a way where it's like here he is on TV, even though I believe he was on camera at the end of Dynamite. I'm not totally sure, but he's not doing it in the way the Authority storyline and I'm the big boss, and like virtually every owner promoter has done it.
Sure.
I mean, of course, Vince made it perfect, but talking about Dixie Carter and like down in ROH, I think Silken did it a couple of times, but it's not so integrated into the show that there's a certain structure, which we can get into later on, but there's a certain structure we're used to where it's like, here's the Authority. It's like, why did this match get made? Oh, it's because the Authority said it was okay. Or why did this match get restarted? Well, the Authority said, all right. And they're either a bad guy or a good guy, and it's like, I own the company, but I don't want the most popular guy in the company to be champion because he doesn't share my values.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah, too. See, it just seems like right now the AEW is just has the values that is very attracting a lot of different talent there, too, that share those same values, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just speaking on Dynamite real quick, I can't remember quite every match off the top of my head.
Oh, sure,
but definitely the opener with FTR.
Busted
a lot out.
Santana Ortiz there too.
Tag team wrestling is certainly back. I mean, they have hard hitting tags that make sense. 22-minute match. Very good. And then I thought, oh well, nothing's gonna beat this. Why'd they put it in the opener? And then of course the main event. They bring the cage down, a perfect scene. Omega comes out. They're all beating them in the cage, and Lucha Bros. I mean, Ray Phoenix just doing stuff that I've just never seen. Like he's doing that double cutter off the ropes. And that's the kind of thing that makes the crowd, even if they're not really paying attention, go, whoa, yeah. So that's definitely the kind of thing that you want to see more on TV.
Oh yeah,
that these guys can pull off
on Wednesday nights too. So they've definitely taken that slot by the throat there. So, but Dynamite definitely kicked it off there too. Now I don't have it on my notes, but I definitely should mention this too. But the softball game that was going on there too. Yeah. So for those of you who do not know that, Thursday they Pro Wrestling Tees had a charity softball game with AEW talent. At the Wintrust Field, I believe in Schaumburg there.
Down the Boomer Stadium,
Yeah. I was going to say, and you, I believe you went to that too there, Brian, right?
I was going to.
You did? Okay.
No, I ended up heading home. I had a big day at work.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But I did catch a lot of clips, and I saw, of course, I believe it was Orange Cassidy at third base or first base. I think it was third. He was chilling, and of course they had several meet and greets too.
Oh yeah, I heard that was fantastic there too. I mean, Darby Allin was there,
Wardlow,
Anna Jay, Jungle Boy. I believe
several of the Dark Order,
the Gun Club there too. Dark Order. Like a good chunk of AEW talent was there too. So I mean, it was definitely awesome to have that fan interaction.
I think Orange Cassidy wasn't even advertised, but there he was showing up, and which is pretty cool, of course. He's one of their bigger stars now.
Of course,
you don't necessarily expect to see like a Jericho or even a Moxley or Omega himself, but when they can show up, it's pretty cool. Speaking of Moxley later on, but
we got to talk about that in just a second though. So, but it looked like a fun event. Again, I wasn't able to go to that event unfortunately, but I kind of wish I did because it looked like a blast.
Oh yeah,
it looked like there was a lot of funny moments there.
Anytime they can make you regret not doing something, they're doing their job.
Yes. Oh yeah. So, but in the end, there was a lot going on that week there too, which leads me into AEW Rampage, which I actually had an opportunity to go to. I had a chance to get a floor seat for that too, which was actually my first time at any wrestling show ever to sit in.
What row was it?
It was section H, I believe, there too. So it was just like literally in the back row of seats, facing the entrance and the ring there. So
Oh, the very back row.
in the very back row.
Oh, that's
there
where I
too.
was. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I was
all
in
right.
G. So
Oh, there you
yeah.
go. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Row 11, seat 11,
There
baby.
it is. Yeah. So, but it was quite a surreal experience because I'm so used to sitting in like bleacher-like seats. But it was awesome. I mean, for an hour-long show, I mean, Rampage definitely delivers in quality there too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing about Rampage, and this might be something that they have to adjust down the line, but you get so many matches taped for Dark and Dark Elevation, and some of them literally take 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But just being there live, I mean, it's really exciting seeing all that talent all at once, seeing everybody, people you didn't even know, like some of the some of the indie Chicago people I didn't know. Not off the top of my head anyway. Sky Blue, for goodness sake.
Sky Blue is one there too. Yeah.
Was that Rampage where they made the announcement for Sky?
Might have been. Actually, it may have been. Yeah.
I can't completely remember, but I tell you what, that was a very cool moment because I mean, obviously, if you don't know, Sky Blue has her match with Red Velvet, and of course, Red beats her because, of course, if AEW talent versus not signed yet, who's going to win.
Oh, of course.
But it was a really cool match, and the people in Chicago definitely knew who Sky was, getting a lot of cheers.
Yeah.
Big time. Even Red getting some boos. And of course, Tony comes out on stage and says, "Hey, Sky Blue, you want to be in the Battle Royal on Sunday?" And of course, she's super excited, and everybody's excited. And it's like, when does that ever happen? Where it's like, somebody who's like not supposed to be there per se gets a chance like that.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, that's what I really appreciate about AEW is that they're giving a lot of these talented wrestlers who are in the indie scenes an opportunity to showcase what they can do on a main level stage there too. Now, granted, these are dark matches, but still, I mean, it's just being able to just have that exposure there too. I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? So.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I don't expect him to sign Sky Blue or anything. Not based on a couple of shows worth of reaction, but I mean, it's like, who's Sky Blue? Like, well, now everybody knows who she is. Her stock has risen tremendously here in the local area and otherwise, and obviously she's got a great look. So
definitely.
Like you said, a 2-minute match on Dark is more than half of people could ever hope for.
Yeah. But let's talk about Rampage just for a little bit there too, because I was definitely excited for that. One of the reasons, because one of my personal favorite wrestlers currently in AEW right now, Malachi Black. He had a match on Rampage, and boy, what a transformation he's made since making the jump to AEW there. So.
Yeah, he's really everything he was supposed to be. I mean, and that's something I've noticed with a lot of these. You could criticize people jumping from WWE to AEW, but I think one of the big positives, I mean, if you look at the Aleister Black versus Malachi Black, there is a lot of the same elements, but I think Malachi really brings forth what he perceives his character to be and what he thinks his persona is and what his vibe is. I mean, it was always cool seeing him rise off the stage.
Yeah.
But, it's just as cool seeing him sit in the spotlight and then lights go out. There he is in the next spot, etc. So
it just fascinates me that he was actually on that track. It seemed like he was on that track when he was on in WWE for a little bit there, too, because, I mean, if you guys recall, he actually made vignettes for his return on SmackDown there, and he actually made an appearance or two, from what I recall there. And like,
there was a couple there. He had the storybook.
Exactly there, and they spent all that time doing that, and then they just outright release him there too. So I mean, I don't really understand that too. I don't think anybody does there. So
well, one of the things with WWE too, and not to be console wars and dog WWE this whole time, but again, just talking about creatively, I think creative is a huge part of wrestling, and something that AEW allows is this certain amount of creative freedom where you can explore some of these things, and they may be very similar, but like I said, I think Malachi has really come into what he was supposed to be, and not just like a pitch idea of what Aleister could be, and then okay, that's cool, but let's tweak that. Let's not say that word. Let's give you a storybook. Let's not, you can wear this, don't wear the face paint, but wear, you can have your hair this way, and it's I guess overproduced is the term, but and not everything's gonna work
Yeah, yeah.
necessarily, but you gotta take chances. The more produced it is, the more it's either this or nothing.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So I mean, right now, he's still relatively new in the AEW scene, but he's definitely making his mark. So, and he's still got a lot more to offer to the table. I feel like there. So,
yeah.
yeah. So, but anyway, I think that was like one of the main reasons why I wanted to go to Rampage, just to see Malachi Black wrestle in person, which I was really excited about.
Well, and some people were saying, "Oh, he's not on the pay-per-view. That's not good. How is
Oh,
he?"
his time will come.
I mean, look, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got people on TV, which again, Rampage, for the most part, I think so far has felt like something worth seeing. It's not like Superstars at 11 p.m. where it's like, here's, I don't know, Kofi versus Akira Tozawa. No offense, guys, but I mean, everybody knows what that match is about. So
Sure.
whereas Malachi, even if he is facing somebody that he's presumed to beat,
Yeah.
it is more of a showcase.
Oh yeah. I would believe it was Lee Johnson who's.
Oh yeah, because I mean, you're kind of programmed to think, oh, Lee Johnson, he's gonna get squat. This will be a 5-minute match at most, and no, it was quite back and forth there for a while.
Yeah.
I mean,
say that for the most part that it was pretty entertaining though. So for somebody as unknown as Lee Johnson is, not to disrespect him or anything, but he's got a lot of growing to do there.
Well,
too.
again, it's like, who's Lee Johnson? It's like, oh, that's that guy who had that great match with Malachi, and he didn't just come out in stock baby blue trunks. He's there with the Nightmare family, and building on that storyline too.
Yeah.
Again, even if he was destined to lose, like, there is a reason and a rhyme behind it.
Yeah. So I think out of all the other matches, I believe Darby wrestled that night too. Yeah. Was it for Rampage?
I think so.
I'm
I
trying to
believe it was. Yeah, because
too.
I seem to remember Punk was on commentary. He got a few choice shots of Punk and Jericho sitting next to each other on commentary.
Right. So
I was a little disappointed he didn't bust out the blazer though.
That would have been nice to see though too. I think the one thing that I remember about that show the most was the dark match. I believe it was because I didn't even expect this here. This happened after Rampage was filmed. There, it was I believe it was Chaos Project versus Jurassic Express. I didn't even expect Jurassic Express to come out. So, and I was just like, oh, damn, it's Jurassic Express.
They're big time over, let me tell you.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
not just, look, people love to chant and people love to do stuff with their hands, but every time they came out throughout the weekend, like, it was a big time show. Like, people were going nuts. Like, the whole crowd doing the doing this thing.
They're basically singing along to Tarzan Boy there. To like Jurassic Express's theme, and they were just really getting into it there too. So I mean, that's just what one of the beauty, the amazing things about wrestling fans is that they can really make or break the show there.
Well, it's funny too, because the dark segment after the dark was Punk there with Jurassic Express.
That's right. See, that's the best part. That's the best part.
Thank you for being a friend from the Golden Girls, which half the crowd did not know, which you can't really blame him. I know the first verse. He started going to second verse. I was like, oh, wait a minute, I don't know that part.
Right. Honestly, I was just kind of going along with it. I can't say that I knew it myself. So,
but he did specifically say, I love that you guys sing the themes.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just that whole big fan interaction.
Oh yeah.
And not every theme song is singable. Not that that's a word. But
we are definitely going to talk about CM Punk in just a few minutes here, because there's a lot to talk about.
Also,
with him.
A special little mention to that other dark match, which I think is probably on YouTube by now. It's the 3 strikes match between Diamante and Big Swole.
That was actually really hard hitting. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that
big
there
time.
too.
And a 3 strikes match, I had such a simple concept, but I had never heard of that. It's And I'm not sure they had either because I'm not sure they stuck to it.
It was
100%,
my first. It was my first exposure to that myself. I don't think there's ever really
basically a 2 out of 3 falls match. First falls pin, second submission, third knockout.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Although I'm pretty sure Diamante went for a pin on the second.
Oh
one,
yeah. Big Swole just came. I just remember Big Swole came in with that roaring elbow, and I was just like, damn.
Oh, she's great. I've had the opportunity to meet her a couple times.
Same. She's awesome.
She's very, very hard hitting, very passionate.
She loves what she do.
Yeah,
she loves what she does there. Yeah.
Just even remembering the, I believe it was the tooth and nail match with Britt Baker and how that was going. That's where people say, like, again, part of that programming where it's like, Big Swole, she won that match, but now she's not doing too much. She's not on TV.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, this match with Diamante was great. And, not everybody is going to make it to the show necessarily, but everybody has a place on the show.
Well, I was actually talking about this with a few other friends there, too. It's just like everybody has a part in a wrestling show, whether they're in-ring talent or they're maybe production crew, ring announcers, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's all part of one show, and they have a huge role in it. So
it's a little bit of controversy this week. Last night on Monday Night Raw over that too. The old 24/7 title segment.
Oh my God! Yeah, are we referring to Mr. Jeff Hardy on this one?
Yeah.
Oh man, but let's segue and maybe discuss that briefly here. I saw it. And let me just make this perfectly clear. I am not watching any WWE programming, so I don't even know what's going on. I don't.
Well,
even know
it's all on Twitter anyhow. You can catch all the big moments and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the big differences between WWE and AEW, I feel, which it was always meant to be, is that your average match on Raw. If there's a really good match on Raw, you hear about it because it's not necessarily the norm.
Sure.
Whereas AEW, there's at least one great one every show, every Wednesday, which, again, you get Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers in there versus some of the talent WWE has. Again, no offense to them. It's just the structure of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it's set up. That's the way it's meant to be. So one thing I think WWE does better, at least right now, is segments, which, of course, the 24/7 title, pretty goofy.
I mean, it's a goofy gimmick that they got going on there too. But
I love the goof. You got to have the goof.
It's right for certain wrestlers there too. But I didn't feel right seeing Jeff Hardy going after that title.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a demotion where there he is with all the quote unquote job people and which I mean.
Yeah, it's just the more I think about it, it's just very unsettling considering how much he's done in the business there too, and to lower himself to, just to go after a joke of a title, which
he might not feel that way, but again, it's like this is how they presented the show. It's like it's the same guy. It's been like the same guys for the last 3 years chasing this title.
Yeah.
And that they're going to be on Main Event or Superstars or what have you.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily in a big-time feud unless, a little spark comes like the whole Jinder thing with Drew McIntyre. But going back to the point of, like, everybody has a role, like, one of the big arguments that's always been about why the Attitude Era was great was it really felt like everybody had a role on the show. And not just that they were there, but it's like, here comes Val Venus, and everybody knows who Val Venus is, and here's his character, and he's doing his shtick. And then he's in a storyline with Kai and Tai where it's like they're threatening to take away his most precious gift, It's like they're not just having a match just because, here's why are Chris Jericho and William Regal wrestling? It's not just because they're two top-class wrestlers. It's because Jericho left a little surprise in Regal's teacup, and it's like, okay, that's why. And, a lot of it is kind of goofy and dumb and simple, but
sure.
But I mean, that's what storytelling's all about. Everybody has a character and everybody has a story. I mean, that's what wrestling, at least what a lot of modern wrestling has been, and I think should be.
Yeah. So it's almost like with WWE, they kind of just lost a little bit of that focus there too, in terms of just proper storytelling. Yeah, I say that loosely just because I feel like.
Oh, sure. I mean, if you're not in the title picture or you're not like one of the guys, it's like you're just there. Like, especially the women. I mean, if you're not chasing the women's title, you're just a woman on the show. You're just there to lose. You doesn't matter if you wear neon clothes or you're from Staten Island or whatever your character may be. In that moment, you're just another person on the show.
That's really
which is unfortunate.
It's
but
very, very there too. Again,
but
I feel like that's an entirely different topic there too for another time.
yeah.
I'm sure we're going to mention briefly about.
I have
that
I have a little callback later in the show.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so and then let's see, we got Rampage here, and then the following day we had Fan Fest. Now there was Fan Fest on Friday. Didn't get a chance to go to that.
I was gonna go, but Friday morning they said sold out or sales had ended.
Oh wow!
And
okay.
I guess it wasn't sold out. They had just ended the sales. You could still buy meet and greets, ironically enough, but not actually to get in. So I don't know if they were trying to cap it or.
Okay. I'm trying to see the logic in that, but okay.
FanFest itself, we did both go on Saturday.
Yes, we did. Yes, and boy, that was crazy.
It was fun.
Yeah.
But, I don't think you can deny that it was disorganized.
Very, very disorganized. I think that they could have done a better job organizing the lines a little bit more. Because I can tell you this, I had 3 meet and greets that I had to go to myself. I had an opportunity to meet Hikaru Shida, Santana Ortiz, and FTR. And most of the time, I was just basically wondering which line am I in, because a lot of them, all the meet and greets were basically bunched up next to each other, despite the fact that there were signs. But I think just because of the demand of how of the crowd, basically just how crowded it was. I mean, it was just it was just utterly chaotic in terms of just trying to organize, okay, who's going to go from this line to this line here too. And if you bought multiple, many meet and greets, that would have been quite the adventure for you, just staying in line all day there.
Well, here's the funny thing. Yeah. I got there and I effectively snuck in because I bought the ticket $60 to get in, not including. It included some free meet and greets.
Sure.
Yeah. Like Big Swole and Hybrid 2.
Oh, sure.
Chaos Project, etc. A lot of the people that were at the softball game, actually.
Yeah.
But I just kind of wandered in a door. I got there about noon. It started at 10. I wandered in a door. There was the merch booth. Nobody stopped me. I noticed everybody had a wristband. I never got a wristband. I mean, I did actually pay to get in. But they'd never acknowledged that I had paid to get in.
Okay, all right.
So,
you had proof. Well, you had proof of that you actually purchased it.
Yeah. So, I mean, and granted, if I had a meet and greet, I probably would have had to show whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I believe you would tell them that you had it, and they gave you the 8x10, and then you went.
I
and
think
stood in line,
that was something I was thinking about there too. Because I felt like that the 8x10 that they gave you when you checked in for your meet and greets was like your ticket to actually show proof that, oh, hey, I actually bought this meet and greet.
Supposed to be here, yeah.
Yeah, because I was kind of under the impression that anybody could have hopped into the prepaid meet and greet lines there too. But then there was somebody at the front of each talent's
actually checking
table.
the QR code or whatever.
Yeah, actually, they just asked if I had the 8x10 there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I don't think they checked the QR code. Yeah. So, and I was thinking, oh, okay, well, that's kind of a way to check, to make sure that nobody's actually doing this just willy-nilly, But yeah, very chaotic. According to a shout out to my good brother Nico Melendez there too, Hot Wheels as we like to call him there. Yeah. So we had the pleasure of spending quality time together there.
Always nice having Nico by your side.
Oh my goodness,
because
the
crowd just disperses.
Oh so. Yeah, in a big way there too. But once he's rolling in, then too, everybody knows who he is there. But anyway, he even was telling me how disappointing the ADA regulations were for the lines at the meet and greets too. So I mean, especially in previous conventions that I've gone to, I know you've gone to quite a few yourself.
For sure.
But they would have special ADA regulation lines specifically for people like Nico and
they did have the VIP lines, of course. Look, everybody, probably half the people there would have bought VIP if they had sold out. But they could have worked something out where it's VIP is also ADA.
Sure.
And that's pretty simple enough. I mean, this thing was at the Schaumburg Convention Center,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
attached to the Renaissance Hotel over
Yeah,
there by
yeah.
Woodfield Mall.
Mm-hmm.
I had never been there before. It's a nice little. Well, certainly a gorgeous hotel.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
but
actually,
here's the thing. AEW was not the only thing there.
oh
mean,
yeah,
there was
they had like a
martial
karate.
art.
Yeah, they had a
lots of
karate
martial
tournament
arts.
going on there too.
Yeah. I saw
Yeah.
people in the hallway practicing, and
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
little cafe. Which shout out to the waitress who got me a Mountain Dew.
Oh, nice.
Much appreciated.
Oh,
from
nice.
the
Oh,
little Starbucks or
oh,
whatever.
that's awesome there, yeah.
Not on tap, but they did have bottles.
Okay,
so
okay, sure.
not like the Now Arena and their Great Lakes Coca-Cola sponsorship.
There.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't want to go on a rant here, but
But yeah. So I mean, despite how tiring that day was, I thought it was great. Because I had the chance to meet some talent there. Actually, the first one was Hikaru Shida, who was somebody who I've been excited to meet for quite some time because I've just loved the way that she does her thing in the ring. I follow her on Instagram. She does cosplay too. Fantastic. So I had the pleasure of meeting her first, and I had a chance to have her sign my lovely IWGP Championship right here. And she definitely took admiration to it there, and she was really excited to see it there too. So it took the time to actually take a look at it. So I was actually kind of like excited on the inside there. But it was great. I was just like nervous and everything, but that, I guess that's a good thing, right? So
yeah. Well, one of the neat things about AEW and fan interaction, like I remember being at I think it was All In.
Yeah.
And being at the hotel lobby, at the hotel bar, and there's just best friends just hanging out.
Yeah,
and obviously we all want Starcast to come back.
Sure.
That's a great time. Conrad does a bang up job.
Yeah.
But when you talk about a fan fest, especially for a bigger company, a growing company, I mean, you're really paying for the convenience of what it is. I mean, there was some cool stuff there. There was a merch booth with
They had
with
some,
like a shirt.
They had some nice memorabilia. They actually had
you
some good wrestling memorabilia, some artwork
They
there
they had artifacts, they call them. They had the Cody throne.
Yeah.
And they had Britt Baker's wheelchair. And
Yeah.
They had all the titles, which I was
Darby's coffin, I think.
which I really liked the titles, of course.
Oh yeah.
But of course, they're behind this locked kind of IKEA locker that it's not like you can hold them or anything.
Well, of course,
yeah. It's neat, but it's also sort of like you walk around in 5 minutes, you've seen everything.
Pretty
So
much.
you're really there just for the stage shows and the meet and greets.
Yeah.
Particularly the meet and greets.
And honestly, if you didn't have any meet and greets that you wanted to see, and there really wasn't much to do over there.
The stage shows were neat, but they weren't like must see. And even like when they've done like the All In press conference and the other All Out press conference at Starcast, like it's not like all the top guys are coming out having words. It was. I mean, it was a cool crew, don't get me wrong. There's Mark Henry, who's hilarious. I think he's really coming into his element here in AEW.
Yeah.
They had Britt Baker out, which of course is a big name, don't get me wrong.
Yep.
And Jamie Hayter.
Mm-hmm.
And Christian, also a big name. Well, all right, I take it back a little bit. They did have some pretty decent names this time around as far as but it's not as if it was like a boxing press conference where it's like, here's this match, here's the two guys, here's the face-to-face, here's the weigh-in.
Sure.
But they did have the Q&A section, which is always cool.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely fun to see a little bit of that there, too. But there were some big names that actually showed up. If only you had access to them, only if you had the VIP, though. So, I mean, I believe that Orange Cassidy was on Friday, and then Moxley was actually on Saturday. So, yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool that, they actually offered that, though, too. And I think from the VIP, from what I understand, is that they offered you get your choice selection of 4 different prepaid meet and greets there too.
Something like that.
Yeah. I think that's
3
how
or
it
4.
worked. Yeah. So I didn't catch wind of that, but I honestly thought, that's actually a pretty nice deal then. So
I heard that if you had VIP for both days, they gave you the gift of a signed turnbuckle.
Oh, wow.
Signed by a bunch of people.
Holy crap.
That was actually available for sale at All Out.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Of course, the price there is $750.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, which is a nice little gift. And I had heard some complaints, too, on Twitter of, VIPs, their line the general admission line started before theirs did, or they
Sure.
didn't get in as fast, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Which obviously those logistics are the kind of thing that people care about
yeah,
and
yeah.
are going to complain about.
Mm-hmm.
And but hey, that's a nice little gift if true. The turnbuckle, I'm a sucker
Yeah.
for all that merch, and they had some chairs allegedly from the first Dynamite on sale for
Yeah.
$100. I was real tempted, but I'm like, I don't want to lug this thing around.
Right,
so.
right. I think also we mentioned memorabilia there too. There was the throne, Cody's throne there.
Mhm.
Yeah, from I believe it was Double or Nothing there too.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I thought that was pretty nice that they featured that though.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, for the most part, it was still fun. Just to get a chance to meet AEW talent and just catch up with some old wrestling friends too. So
it's very
Yeah.
fun, but you kind of got to know what you're getting into because
Yeah.
it's really, you're paying a fee to get in, and then you're paying a fee to meet certain people. So
you're paying a fee basically to stand in line for hours. Too.
pretty much. Yeah.
So I mean, I believe in the
But-
convention universe they call that line con there. So yeah, yeah. So basically,
So that's why something like a Starcast is always a lot of fun
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's not necessarily just one thing, one promotion. There's much to do. There's much to see. There's different merch, different tables, everything.
yeah,
So
I definitely.
it
enjoy
comes with the territory, but you just got to know what you're getting into. I
Yeah,
mean, if you're gonna pay that price, then
Yeah.
like I said, you're paying for the convenience. You
pretty
might
much.
you might go to the softball game and
Yeah.
catch for $20 and catch Darby Allin at the table, or you can get him at the Fan Fest for probably like over 100. So.
Exactly there too. Now, before we talk about the main show here too, I should
Mhm.
mention also that I had a chance to also go to an event that was hosted by Dave LaGreca of Busted Open Nation. there.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So this was I forgot the name of the bar, but this was
I
definitely.
believe it was Penny Lane Pub.
Yes,
right
thank-
down the
thank
road
you.
from Now Arena.
Thank you. Yes, that's it right there. So, but that was fun. That was a lot of fun there because we just all hung out. Dave LaGreca, of course, was hosting the event. Mark Henry was there. Let's see, Santana was there. Powerhouse Will Hobbs was there too. So it was actually a good event. It was a really good event. We had a chance to mingle with them. Had a chance to talk to Mark Henry a little bit. So that was pretty hype actually. He's a really nice guy there. And we just had a chance to just enjoy ourselves with during that event there. So
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing I was talking about, like with Starcast and just people hanging out and kind of being at the bar and such.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's the cool level of interactivity, doing
Mhm.
karaoke and such, things that, granted, WWE stars are big stars and
Mhm.
they can charge $500 on Cameo,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
not necessarily going to do that all the time.
Oh, sure.
But, it's just the opportunity is pretty cool. And
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish I had gone to that. I found out about it after the fact, but I was actually at GCW, the Art
Oh
of
yeah.
War
Let's,
Games.
mention that there. Let's talk about that.
which,
Something big happened there. Yeah.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
First of all, the Grand Sports Arena in Hoffman Estates is, look, GCW is basically ECW and basically that bingo hall carny promotion. And the Grand Sports Arena, if they ran a broom through it, it might be as nice as the ECW arena. It's basically a bunch of soccer fields, stuff coming off the ceiling, stuff coming off the walls. Speaking of QR codes, like, at the door, hey, do you have a ticket? Flash the phone, and they're like, all right, go in.
Oh jeez. Okay.
Hey, I have front row. What do I do? Oh, your name is on the chair.
Oh,
Sticky
jeez.
note, so,
Oh jeez.
Oh,
jeez. All right.
alphabetical order, but
Yeah.
because I had actually gone to the show the night before as well, the 3-cup stuff, GCW Black Label Pro combination. The 2-cup stuff, the show they did at the last All Out,
Mm-hmm.
one of the best indie shows, if not one of the best wrestling shows I've ever seen live.
Oh, sure.
Honestly, easily top 10, maybe top 5.
Okay.
And
yeah.
and these two were pretty good too.
Oh, okay.
But
All right.
I saw my first death match live. G Raver and Jimmy Lloyd, main event of 3 cups.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. If you're not prepared to be at a death match, as several of the ladies I saw were not, including one pregnant lady,
Oh my goodness.
you
Oh man.
yeah, you might as well go home early. Catch the cheap Uber because you're literally like 3 feet away from the ring where light tubes are being smashed and
Yeah.
glass is being smashed and Lloyd went through the flaming pane, I believe it was.
Jesus.
Pane, like a sliding door, you know. And it's funny because the next night I was in the parking lot. I went to 7-Eleven to get some cash. That's another thing. If you're going to a bingo hall show, bring cash money. Don't assume they take cards. They don't know what Trello is. They don't know what. That might be the real estate thing. But they don't know what Venmo is.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway,
okay.
I don't know what it is. So.
Okay. I don't have a Venmo, so yeah.
Anyhow, go to the 7-Eleven, get cash out of the ATM, and then you see the guys in the back of the car taping all the light tubes together. So
Jesus Christ.
So, of course, not running through the whole cart or anything.
Yeah.
Place was 100 degrees, but very cool, very, very interactive, loudest fans. Some AEW guys were there, what's his name? Hobbs's guy.
Hook. I think
Hook,
that's Taz's son. Yeah.
Yeah, Hook was there.
Yeah.
Joey Janela was there, of course.
Too? Okay.
The AEW guys are kind of behind everybody, kind of going like this. Marco Stunt, and then Joey Janela's just walking around the ring, just sort of, drinking a beer, like whatever. I'm supposed to be here.
Sure.
So speaking on the main event, the big War Games match, they took about half hour to set up that cage, but it was worth it. I tell you what, it was a great match to see live. Just all kinds of crazy mess. Barbed wire, light tube, you never seen so many light tubes in your life.
Yeah.
And just the buzz about the show. Like, if you want to go to a show, say what you will about them and the whole deathmatch thing and the MDK and we're scumbags or whatever. If you want to go to a show where the fans are completely into it and this is a moment and not just a show and everybody's a part of it, go to a GCW show. AEW fans, obviously that's kind of where we're at with AEW being so fan friendly and everybody's excited for wrestling again. But I tell you what,
sure.
I tell you GCW, because I am not a murder, death, kill guy. I am not. I was doing this every time I thought something was coming at me. But it was an awesome show, and everybody's cool, and the Modelo was flowing, and I bought a mask off old Juventud Guerrera, the Juice.
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. He even signed it. So I tell you what, it was awesome. And then, of course, at the end, we all thought, they're not doing the Matt Cardona thing. But then, here comes Murder, Death, Clown, Frank the Clown to... That's the other thing. GCW has a pretty good handle on story.
Yeah.
In terms of not necessarily really deep story, but here's what we know is gonna make this thing awesome. So let's bring out Frank the Clown, and everybody hates both of them, and then Frank loses, and then here comes G-Raver, who everybody assumed was sort of the he's not on the show, and he's a GCW guy. Comes out with the Druids. Cardona chases them all off, except for one tall one, who, of course, hits the, I believe it's called the Death Rider now, right? Dirty Deeds.
Dirty Deeds, yeah.
And then, of course, it's Moxley, and then, of course, here comes Nick Gage to challenge immediately, and, just that sequence of events is what I'm saying. Some might call it overbooked or whatever, but when you're there live in the moment, it's okay, here's Frank the Clown, who we obviously all hate. Okay, here's G-Raver, who's not Moxley, but he's we all like.
Sure.
And then, they actually did it. Here's Moxley.
Yeah.
So
how appropriate too for Moxley.
No, it was awesome. It was great. So
I was gonna say it sounds like a blast. I'm definitely gonna have to go to one of these days.
Yeah, for sure. I'm
just
sure
to experience it.
Sure, they'll be back in the second city soon enough.
Oh yeah. Well, and now I think we've gotten to the point where we should definitely talk about the main show here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All Out there. Oh man.
We were at the pre-show party.
Oh
with,
yeah,
the Wingmen.
That was fun. I like that.
Yeah, that was great. The nice little hideaway there, and the Gun Club doing the dunk tank. And, Again, one of those environments where it's it's not necessarily their top stars, but here they are walking around, taking photos with anybody who asks.
It was just a great.
Being cool, Colt doing Art of Wrestling. Music playing, drinks. It's great.
Yeah. The Acclaimed, I think, were there.
The Acclaimed were there. Max, I think, performed. I got there right after, but I think Max performed.
Mm-hmm.
And, And then I went to go stand in line, and I walked to the front, and then I kept walking, and then I walked around, and then I walked right back where we started.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah.
the line was wrapped around the arena.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I mean, fortunately for me, like, I was able to. I was in a suite. So, and I thank you for actually letting me know about that.
It's their own special secret entrance on the side there.
But we still, I mean, we still had to wait, but it wasn't like crazy
for
line.
like 5 minutes.
Yeah. It wasn't like a crazy line though. So,
well, I can't be too upset. I did get super VIP at the first All Out. And I actually. In addition to pigs in a blanket and a White Claw, I also had the privilege of holding the actual AEW title belt.
Oh, okay.
For some photos. So if they offer VIP or super VIP, that's pretty cool. I also got in the arena before about 10,000 other people. So,
nice. Yeah. I was gonna say the suite level that I was in, it was actually quite an amazing view. I will say that it's definitely something I would if you have the opportunity to go into one of the suites there at the Now Arena for an AEW show.
Really, any arena, really. I mean,
any arena, honestly.
Stretch your legs, you can.
Yeah. You get your own private area to yourself there. I mean, the bathroom was essentially just down the hall. We didn't have to wait for
had a little.
They
have any kind of like concession service? Somebody coming by.
They did. Yeah, we had a full fridge of drinks there. We had a private bar to ourselves too.
Well, granted, it was Coke. But,
but they also had a bar like in the same floor there too. So they did offer drinks there too.
Nice,
but
nice.
But in order for you to get those ice cream bars, you actually had to go down to the concession stands there. Which I definitely paid quite a bit for. I even bought 2 for my girlfriend. So yeah.
I mean, look, it's arena prices. It's $7 for a bottle of Dasani water.
Yeah,
I would rather relieve myself outside and then drink the mud than drink Dasani. But they did have the vodka lemonade stand open, no line. So I chugged that and got a headache. But
all right.
But then the cup I could fill up in the water fountain, so that was nice.
Oh,
so,
there you go. There you go.
Merch lines were insane. They actually cut them off. Like I went to go join, a security guard was like, "Look, come back in like 20 minutes."
Man, it's just like the fact that the crowds that we had to deal with, and this was just before the show even started too.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it was insane there too. But let's run through the matches and see what.
Shall we?
I'm sure there's some that we don't necessarily need to talk about too much.
Well, there was the buy-in match, which I'm sure a lot of people didn't see because they were trying to get ice cream and signed action figures and such.
I believe it was the Best Friends and the Jurassic Express here. And it was the Hardy family, and the whole Hardy family office.
Private Party, Matt himself, and the Hybrid 2.
Yep. I was gonna say, we mentioned Butcher Blade there too, or
they were on the outside, I believe.
Okay.
Butcher's big. It is Butcher, right? He came back. He kind of had it. We had seen him at I think it was the Fan Fest, but.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he was back on TV, he was back, and pretty good match. It's really, granted, it's the pre-show match, but it's really the culmination of getting that vibe of. Because I went back and watched it on YouTube, and after the match, they sort of do the little beatdown where Butcher kind of reveals himself and beats down Cassidy when all the other guys have gone in the back, and then here they come with the big group, and they've got Varsity Blondes in tow and some other people.
Nice.
And then, the camera just kind of lingers on everybody for 3 or 4 minutes where, Orange is doing his thing where he goes to get on the top and then he decides, okay. And
typical Orange Cassidy,
But, just that level of, again, the fans love Jurassic Express. They love Orange. They love all these guys.
Yeah.
And even though they were just sort of there, again, it just sets the tone for the night. Like, it's just sort of,
Oh, yeah. And boy, was it ever a night there. All right. Well, let's and now on to the main show here. I believe the show opened up with the TNT title. Yeah. I believe it was Miro and Eddie Kingston that wrestled that match there too.
It was an interesting story because Kingston really had Miro's number, but the idea was that one of the turnbuckles had gotten ripped off, and then Eddie goes to throw Miro into it, and Bryce Remsburg stops him.
Yeah.
which of course allows Miro to get the win. And I kind of wonder about that, if they'll expand on that, because of course Bryce was the head referee in Chikara,
Yeah.
where Eddie was the first grand champion, and of course they have a history together,
Sure.
and everything. So I wonder if they'll play into that at all, or if it was just your kind of basic, the refs trying to do the right thing, and unfortunately it didn't go Eddie's way.
Right.
But very hard hitting match to start off.
Yeah.
Eddie's as good as I've ever seen him. Like when he won that grand championship, he was a whole different person, and from all the adversity and everything he's come up from, and some of the bad stuff he's done in the past. But
yeah, I think after seeing him wrestle live, I think this was actually my first time seeing him wrestle in person, and I don't think people give him enough credit for what he can do there.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, he's as good as I've seen him.
Yeah.
He's fat. He's one of those guys that doesn't look like a megastar.
Yeah.
But he can move like one.
He can talk like a megastar, that's for sure. So
yeah, that's true. Already had that shirt and that sign out there.
Yeah,
so.
I was gonna say there that he's got the charisma, he's got the mic skills, and he certainly can go in the ring. So yeah. I honestly thought he could have walked away with the title.
I kind of thought so too. But maybe this is one of those feuds where it's like, what, it can continue.
Definitely.
Like Miro doesn't have to go to the next one.
No. I was gonna say, it's just I think right now it's just if they can continue on with this feud, I think that's gonna be good for their stock value right there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I think the next match that we got go up next is that's a hard hitting one right there. Jon Moxley and Satoshi Kojima there too. So yeah.
I love this synergy with New Japan and all these other promotions.
Yeah,
I mean,
the Forbidden Door is what they like to call it there.
Yeah, I mean, this is a match that based on the merit of the in-ring style and the in-ring intensity and how hard they're hitting each other.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't know who he is, despite him being such a veteran, which, I mean, he hasn't been to America very much.
Sure.
I mean, that's the kind of thing where, you say it in the ring. You know what I mean? Like, they did their little prepackaged thing and they did their little fake press conference thing, but, that's where the match speaks for itself, I guess is what I'm saying.
Definitely. Oh, definitely. I think the big thing that came out of it after Moxley got the win there was we had an interesting debut, I guess, if you will, with probably one of the most sadistic men to ever step foot in a wrestling ring, in Minoru Suzuki there.
Well, there's a reason his little Minitron there has the thumbtacks falling.
Yeah.
And that's just another thing. It's like, all these guys coming to AEW, not just people who are chiefly in AEW, but, again, the New Japan guys, the Impact guys, what have you. You've got matchups for years. And I mean, this is a perfect match, of course. And Moxley, they're going to do it in Cincinnati in the homecoming, and it makes sense. And, it's...
That's it right there.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
This Wednesday here tomorrow, actually. Yeah.
Yes,
so
indeed.
It's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to that, though. But, I think the next one is we got a women's title match here that Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And Chris Statlander there. That was a good match, I thought.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe not the best match either one has had, but... the story of the match, of course, is that Chris is trying to get over on Britt, where they kind of do the classic thing where Britt's sort of in control a lot of the time. And, again, going back to those little subtle things like, Chris is on the outside struggling to get back, and then Orange starts screaming at her to get up and she can do it. Which
when you get him riled up like that there, too, he means business.
All throughout the weekend, I think Britt... now, granted, she's a heel, but she's probably the most over heel on the roster in terms of, like, just... And she's really coming to her own as far as, like, playing the character of, like, the not to compare her to Charlotte, but, like, sort of the chosen one is, like, I'm the one who's got the title. I'm the one who's
Yeah.
kept the title. I'm the one
Yeah.
who's got the prestige.
Yeah, they were really slowly building her up with that there too. Even going into last year there too. That's something that I've noticed with her is that they were just like slowly like breeding her into the next AEW's woman champion there.
Yeah,
So.
and honestly, I really didn't think Chris would win, but
No. I
there
didn't
there
think so
is.
either.
I don't think it's quite the same where it's like you sort of have your women's champion and you sort of feed them everyone on the roster eventually. It's like all these matches are very, very intense, very. They really do try very hard. They leave it out there.
Oh, they did there too. I mean, just for what they can do there, I think that it just goes to show you that both Chris and Britt there too is one of the, I'd say, one of the top in the division right there. So I mean, there's just a lot to talk about with that in terms of the women's division. But yeah, Britt Baker is definitely at the top of the food chain right now. So, but
oh yeah, I mean, she's a megastar. They've really built her up to be like the megastar of the women's division beyond like the Nyla and Riho and the initial champions.
And I think they really made the right call on that there too. I mean, because she's definitely worked her ass off, and she's definitely got the look, she's got the charisma, and she just has the star power on her. The more I see it there. So, and again, they were slowly breeding her into this here too.
Thank goodness for Happy Accident. She actually said at the Fan Fest, when she did the whole DMD thing, she was just doing it, and then of course everybody else starts doing it in the crowd, and now everybody does it. When it's the new chant, if you have a chant, then you're doing okay.
Oh yeah, definitely there too.
It's like Leva in her blue pants.
Yeah. Well,
she was at FanFest. She's always
she
cool.
was. Oh yeah, she's always
played Jackbox games.
Oh yeah,
funny.
She's awesome there too. Yeah. I love the stuff that she does there too. The fact that she's in the cosplay and everything too. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So okay, all right. So. Oh, this one's a barn burner here too with the Lucha Brothers,
Ooh,
the Young Bucks, AEW World Tag Team titles there too. I mean, man, what can we talk about on this one here? How would we describe it?
Arguably match of the night from a pure wrestling storytelling.
It was a great
the moves they did. I mean, everything in the match. I mean, you put these two teams in a cage, or any match really. And it's bound to be a good match. But they're busting out the shoe with the thumbtacks.
I was just like, oh, Matt, what are you doing here? So, that's what I could have said to myself the whole time.
You could scrape them off. They'll be fine.
I thought, I mean, the stuff they did with that was kind of on the cheesy side, but that's like the Young Bucks right there.
Went down to Chicago Premium Outlets, bought them cheap.
So, but it definitely brought a good element to the storytelling of the match. And I think that's what I thought they really did a great job with, was a good storytelling with that, because they really built up to it, and it was very emotionally driven. I felt
maybe it's because I was there live, because you always feel more invested when you're there live.
Absolutely.
But there was a point in the match where Lucha Bros were bleeding, and I think it was even before the shoe came out. And just Young Bucks are completely dominating them, and I'm thinking, well, how can Lucha Bros come back from this? Like, they're totally spent, and Young Bucks are totally fresh. And the Bucks have the weapons, and I don't feel that way very often, because I know the psychology of wrestling, where it's like, of course the good guys are going to come back. But just watching it there, it was like there was really that sense of despair, and how do they come back from this, and how do they they can barely move. So, I don't know if that's a testament to their selling or what, but of course, when they did come back and they're doing all the moves off the cage and everything, it was really great.
I think it's a testament of how good that they can get people drawn into this here too. I mean, so especially if you're a very intelligent wrestling fan like yourself, who understands the ring psychology there too, but the fact that you're able to get invested deep into this here too, thinking otherwise, like, oh, what if this, what if that there too, it just makes it more exciting there, just to really get into the match there. So I mean, the spot that Ray Phoenix did at the top of the cage, I was just like, okay, they're going to do something big here, they're going to do something big, and clearly that was the highlight, one of the the end of the match there. And fortunately they came away as new AEW tag team champions.
Yeah,
So,
he's made it clear that if and when they split them up, they'll be fine. I mean, Phoenix.
I mean, yeah.
People kind of consider Pentagon to be like, when I think of the Lucha Bros, Pentagon's like the primary guy, just because he's Pentagon.
Yeah.
But Phoenix and the things he's done and the moves he's done, like he's really making a name for himself as himself.
Wasn't Pentagon the Impact World Champion at one point there?
I don't know.
I want to say that he held that title.
I think a hot water heater was Impact champion at one point.
Yeah,
so
I
can't really remember.
No disrespect to Christian Cage there. So,
well, Impact or TNA or something.
So
I don't know. They've changed the belt.
But
so many times,
either way, there. Congrats to the Lucha Brothers for becoming the new AEW World Tag Champions.
A great moment at the end when their family came out.
Oh, that was amazing.
Although the little girl got blood all over.
They
were trying.
But still, that was amazing. That was an amazing moment there too.
Well, and the entrance too. Shout out to the entrance because that was great. I mean, one of the things I'm a sucker for merch. I'm also a sucker for presentation. I'm a sucker for the pageantry, the stages, and the AEW stages aren't that different. They kind of bust out those styrofoam gears for full gear. And
of course.
And the little tents for Fyter Fest and everything.
Yeah.
But that was a really cool entrance.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was.
That's.
It was very.
There were a couple more to come too.
Yeah. I thought that was very unique, and I thought it was very. They stayed true to their roots. I think their heritage, their background, and I thought that's what made it. It
wasn't even that complicated. You just have them out there. They're doing the music. Of course, they have their headpieces and everything. But just with the little choir, lucha choir, and
yeah.
But that's. But again, like I said, that's another thing that. Sets you apart is the presentation that
absolutely
other places either don't do or don't do anymore.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, now I think we also got a battle royal to talk about here.
Yes,
the casino battle royal there.
Man, how somebody said this to me and it really kind of hit me. It was like a year ago. How rough was this division? This whole women's division in AEW, and now looking at this battle royal where like every woman in it was like. Has an identity and has a character, and people were excited.
I remember having this conversation with Nico actually about how the women's division needed more star power there too. Like somebody like say Tessa Blanchard there too. Could be added to the mix though.
A good little crowd chant there. It was like, we want Tessa.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
Yeah, I think I heard that too there. But a year later, I mean, today especially, I mean, you look at the participants in this battle royal here, they all have an identity.
Oh yeah, and I mean, even if you look at like Anna Jay as somebody who, when you look at her, she kind of looks like every woman on the roster, so to speak. Her gear is sort of basic. She's got the stars. She doesn't have a complete unique look, but. People know who she is because of the storylines they've done and of course the YouTube stuff and everything, and so when she comes out she gets a huge pop. Of course she did just come back, but
yep she came back
but people know who she is, or Ty Conti, who her gimmick's sort of like, well, I'm from Brazil, but everybody's excited for her. She's cool, she's neat.
Red Velvet also there, Jade Cargill.
Well, even Red Velvet, like her gimmick is like,
Jade Cargill, of course, there too.
But that speaks to the testament of like, you've always had your wrestlers who have really distinct, plain gimmicks that anybody can recognize. If you're Bob Holly and your name is Sparky Plug and you come out in a racing suit, everybody knows what you are.
Yeah.
But if you're like Red Velvet and you come out in a red set of gear, and it's not immediately obvious. I mean, she does have that apron, so it's not completely obvious what you are, but everybody is cheering because they know who you are. And arguably some of the best wrestlers ever have leaned into gimmicks, but they've also leaned into who they are.
Sure.
Because it's like Steve Austin, what's that gimmick? Redneck who drinks a lot of beer? I mean, or John Cena, what's that gimmick? Guy who wears jorts? Like,
yeah, right.
But there is, you could say, oh, well, Cena was a rapper and now he's sort of like the rah-rah guy, sort of pseudo-military, but it's hard to describe what John Cena is in a word or a phrase, and that's what I feel like what's great about a lot of the women here in this battle royal is the same thing. You know, they all have a really strong identity that's not just, well, I was this person's valet, or well, I'm this person's girlfriend, or well, I'm, you know, spooky zombie girl. Which,
Sure.
you know, no offense to Abaddon, who's awesome. I mean, you know, when she was crawling out of the tunnel, I mean, she's great. Like,
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
I mean,
Like,
she legit scares me. I'm not gonna lie to you there. So, yeah. But you know, you mentioned, you know, a unique identity for a lot of these the female competitors there too. There was, I think, there was one that definitely stood out that I think that was somewhat speculated that she would make her debut.
yeah, it was the favorite speculation, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. The artist formerly known as Ruby Riot, now
And
known as
Heidi Lovelace.
and Heidi Lovelace, now known as Ruby Soho. She drew the Joker card there.
and went on to win the whole thing.
Let me just say this here too, because I actually listened to her interview prior to or following the match, following the show, I should say. But even like during the match, man, you could just see just how happy she looks. Like, I mean, I tell you this right now. I mean, you can say this about any other talent, but I think with her, I feel like with AEW, it just feels like home for her there too. I mean, especially after listening to that, you know, that the post pay-per-view interview that she had. She genuinely was happy to be there, and she definitely showcased what she can do, and. And I love the fact that also the final two were her and Thunder Rosa there too.
Yeah, of course. And
yeah.
you really felt like either woman could win it.
Oh yeah.
Because it's sort of like, well, are they going to do the thing where she's the Joker, obviously, and she debuts, obviously, and she wins the title shot, obviously.
Yeah.
Which they did. But I mean, you know, and some people are like, bringing up the tweet, we're not taking every ex-WWE person, giving them a title shot right away.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, in the context of the current situation, I think it's fine because, you know, again, what's going on with Britt is that she's the one who's sort of like, well, I've blown through the roster, you know, who's going to step up to me.
Exactly.
And then here's Ruby, who's markedly different than her, you know, the whole punk motif and everything, and known for being a hard hitter and everything. So.
And you know, I can't wait to see what she is capable of doing here too. Now, granted, you know, I don't want to, you know, throw some shade at this here too, but you know, she's a great wrestler, no doubt about it. She's definitely great in ring there too, but there's just something that was almost lacking with her that I felt like that would really get her to go over the top in terms of actually winning a women's championship. And maybe being in AEW, just being in that atmosphere, maybe that'll be her stepping stone right there.
You know, it's like we said with Malachi Black. It's like I feel like AEW is an environment where Ruby Soho can be the character she was truly meant to be.
Yeah.
And be that kind of hit that next level, be that top tier talent.
Yeah.
You know, and do things that obviously they couldn't do in WWE with, I mean, if you look at her WWE career, it was she was always sort of like in a mix that didn't really define her, you know, with the Riot Squad and all those goofy storylines. You know, so yeah, I'm excited. I think she's a great talent to add to the division, and you know, there's
I certainly can't wait to see what she can do.
A lot of speculation on other women who might join, but I think she's one of the best from an actual ring perspective.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, I love her. I love her in-ring work, but maybe this is the opportunity for her to win some gold here. So we'll see. Only time will tell here. So you know, huge. Congrats to Ruby Soho for winning that.
You gotta be careful. That jacket's gonna scratch up the belt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I tell you that was a sick jacket that she came out to. So, all right. So I think the next match we got to talk about is Chris Jericho and MJF here.
Oh yeah. Speaking of flashy entrances.
I
definitely got trolled by the countdown.
The countdown.
That
Nice little throwback. Y2J there.
That was awesome. Yeah.
That was pretty. I mean, we all saw that coming. We just saw it. Like any wrestling fan knows about that entrance there. And but man, that was just like, that's so MJF of him to do
I think Jericho's debut when it was the countdown to the Millennium, that's still to this day one of the most remembered and talked about debuts, entrances, whatever you want to say.
A sidetrack on that one there too. I remember seeing that as a kid, and I still like at the time. I mean, I don't think anybody really knew who that was because there was no social media at the time.
Oh yeah,
You know?
I mean, you could potentially go on like what was it, Angel Fire or
Yeah.
something when the early
Yeah.
days of the internet,
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
but
Yeah, right, right.
you yank the cord out of the wall when mom pulls
Yeah,
up.
but basically nobody knew about that, so I think that's what made it really exciting there too. Again, another topic for another day, but now the match itself, though, I thought, man, it was really good actually.
Pretty
So,
good, pretty hard hitting,
Yeah.
pretty. I like the story that they told. This was a little bit divisive with some people I talked to.
Yeah.
Of course, the story they told was that MJF got the pin, but Jericho's leg was on the rope, and it stayed on the rope
Yep.
until Aubrey was the ref, and then I think Rick Knox came down and
Yeah,
and kind of corrected what happened.
See, that was great. I thought that was great there too, because I think it got the crowd a little bit riled up with that too, because it's just like we're
Yeah.
thinking to ourselves, I'm just like, you know what? Oh, Jericho can't end this way there too. There's
Well,
no
again,
way.
it's that psychology of like
Yeah.
the finish on paper is Jericho loses, and then he goes to the desk or whatever, and
Mhm.
maybe he goes back on the stip or what have you. But
Focus on Posey maybe.
and they actually played a couple shows in the area the night before, and in
Yeah,
fact,
yeah.
I believe it was the lead guitarist who came out with Jericho to
Yeah,
do the thing,
yeah,
which
actually-
was a little wonky. I have to
Well,
admit,
I mean, it was
but,
cool to still sing. It was still cool to hear, but I
I-
think
the-
everyone was like out of tune.
Well,
when
the
trying to sing
problem
Judas.
was I
Yeah.
think he was jamming out, but he wasn't necessarily keeping to the structure of the song,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's why people were trying to sing it, but
Yeah.
and people. I don't think everybody knows the lyrics anyway. I think that
Yeah.
middle part of the lyrics, right before the chorus, nobody really
Right.
knows. They just sort of fake their way through it, and it sounds like it's right. But,
right.
But it's kind of like when Lemmy and them performed for Triple H.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
He's sort of like every third word. How you play it?
Yeah. Well, fortunately, though, Jericho came out as the victor, and we were able to sing Judas. There, so.
I like the decision. I like the stip. I like there might be a rubber match. I don't know. Well,
Yeah.
MJF's beaten him several times, but because it kind of begs the question. Where do they both go from here? Because, even like with, I think back to Jericho and Orange Cassidy's feud, and Orange got the better of him, and then they just sort of went their separate ways.
Sure.
Orange kind of did the thing with Miro and Starks and such, and Jericho, of course, has the Inner Circle, who weren't necessarily involved heartily throughout this thing, but they did come out to celebrate. And, of course, Hager did get Wardlow out of the way.
So, I mean, fun fact about the Inner Circle there, too. The suite that I was in, we were actually next to a suite that had Santana in there most of the time.
Really?
Yeah. He was just there chilling for the most part. And then, of course, he had to go back down, do a little segment there at the end, and then came back up. So, I thought that, weren't you just down there for a little while? yeah. So, but that was pretty dope.
They got the talent elevator to shoot back up there. Huh?
I thought that was pretty sweet there too. We actually had a chance to sit next to some different talent there too. Dark Order, Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, Archer was up there for a little while too.
Very nice.
Yeah. He was like literally like a foot away from me. I'm just like, hey, what's up, Lance? How you doing? But I didn't want to bother him, obviously. Yeah. So I'm going to actually flip-flop a match here, too, because I know this would have been next on the card, but it actually is going to be, I think it'd be a perfect transition to this for the next next topic that I feel like we should talk about. Let's just go into Paul Wright and QT Marshall, which I'm sure we don't really need to talk about. Marshall, excuse me. There.
I'm going to go down to Marshall's and get $20
either way, I don't think
Calvin Klein jeans.
I don't think we need to talk about this match too much there, too. But, just a typical,
Well, I think they knew what they were doing. It was a feel-good, cool-down match. White gets the punch, and he does a few of the frying pan chops, shushes the crowd. Which actually, that's actually kind of brilliant because talk about cool the crowd down. Literally do the spot where you tell them to shh, and then do the chops. So it gave everybody a little bit of a breather before.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't even think he really needed to be back in the ring, especially with the hip. I think he had hip replacements.
Probably not, but it was it's just a nice little bit of I don't want to say filler, but it was
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
It's all nice. I
It
mean,
is. It
what
is.
else is QT doing?
Yeah,
So
that's true. That's true. He had his moment in the sun though, right? So okay, I know we have that one other match we need to talk about, but like I said, I'm going to save that for the end here. But let's just go into the main event with for the AEW World Championship right over here there too.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, with Kenny Omega and Christian Cage there too. So of course there was a lot to talk about after the match, but
oh yeah, of course.
but during the match though. What I thought it was really good there too.
I thought they lived up to the hype.
Yeah.
That Rampage match really set the bar, set
really
the tone.
Did. It really did.
Because a lot of people are kind of on the fence about Christian Cage. He's a phenomenal, world class talent, but as far as can he have a great match with the best bout machine? And of course he can. He turned out
He
to have a
answered
couple
that
of them.
there, too.
So
yeah.
and granted, there was a lot of shenanigans going on. I heard some people complaining about well, they were using tables and stuff, and there was no they didn't say it was no DQ and whatever.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that boils down. Now, granted, I didn't hear the commentary, but
Okay.
I think a lot of that boils down to if you're talking about that's part of commentary's job to say things like,
Right.
well, look, obviously Christian doesn't want this to end on a DQ. He wants to be the champion.
Yeah,
and all the
yeah.
intensity of all this, and going back to that whole thing of we're programmed to think a certain way, like if we don't get every single rule laid out for us, then obviously we're going to question. And AEW has had some problems with that, with some of the stuff the refs do, and
Okay.
I mean, things do have to make sense. They do have to. The rules do have to apply. But generally, I think in this environment, this is for the title. This is Christian's already beaten him once, taken one of his belts.
Sure.
This is the be-all. It is the main event. It is the be-all, end-all. So, if you look at, for example, a New Japan style of match where they don't explicitly say any given match is no DQ or,
right.
You can hit your opponent with a chair. But in those most intense matches, that's what happens. They bust out a table. They bust out the guardrail and set it up. They bust out the folding chairs.
Sure.
And that's it doesn't necessarily always have to be, oh, that guy hit the other guy with a foreign object, so it's got to be a DQ. The ref saw it. It was, I think again in the storytelling of the match, and that's what you do with each individual match. Now, granted, if somebody hits shoves a guy into a chair on the outside and they call a DQ, that's pretty goofy, which I think the WWE did it this year at some point. But
right.
But again, I think as far as the intensity of the match, Christian was keeping pace with Omega because Omega can really, when he does those snap suplexes, where he's basically just planting the guy on the mat, you gotta be a little bit cardio to keep up with that stuff. That'll blow you up real quick.
Oh yeah.
And of course the table spots, and of course Callis coming down.
Of course, yeah.
As usual, it's. I really didn't believe that Christian was gonna win, but it was a great. I mean, what can I say about it? It was a great match, and what more can you ask for?
Oh yeah. I mean, I thought it was a match that almost reflected the first Impact there, or for the first Rampage for the Impact Championship there. So I mean, I thought that that both Christian and Kenny really gave it all they got there, and they just shows them that that they are definitely destined for the main event there. So I thought that was a really good choice there. So
do you think it was a 5-star match?
No, I don't think it was a 5-star.
No, I don't. I think it was a 6-star match.
Yeah.
I mean, no.
6-star. Yeah, tell that to Dave Meltzer there too.
It was maybe 4.
I'd say I'm gonna say 4 on this too, because I mean it was a good match. Some would even argue a great match, but not 5-star quality, I would say.
Yeah, I mean it did exactly what it needed to do.
Yeah.
It was, again, for anybody who doubted that, we have all these awesome matches on the All Out card, and now it's Omega versus Christian. It's Christian.
Yeah.
But they delivered. They did exactly what they needed to do, especially considering what happened after the fact.
Yeah. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. There was a lot that happened with that there.
Well, listen, I will confess, I was at the United Center, and I did not get the T-shirt.
Okay.
And I wasn't going to miss out this time.
Yes.
So after the second table spot, I bolted upstairs. I went to the restroom.
Mm-hmm.
I hid, and I listened for the 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
At the third count, I went out to the merch stand. We were standing out there. I was like the 10th guy in line.
Mm-hmm.
They had a, thank God they had a monitor set up so we could watch what was going on.
Okay, sure.
But long story short, they were kind of cheeky about it. They were smiling, and then the guy gets on the PA. He's like, sorry, guys, anything new is going to be on the website.
Okay.
So I just want to make it clear that they didn't have them. If you bought one off eBay, it's a fake.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Anyway, enough about that nonsense. Let's
So
the
the
true moment
the
here.
aftermath of the AEW title match there too, because we had a couple of debuts. Two. I mean, I say this two. You know, because I mean, let me ask you. Did you? I think I may have asked you this earlier too. Did you honestly think that that was going to happen?
That we're going to do both?
Yeah, we're going to do
no,
both. No,
I thought, you know, everything that AEW that people have said, you know, have thought could happen and have really wished to happen, it's happened.
Yeah.
So to that end, I thought, well, Bryan Danielson is definitely going to debut.
For sure.
I fully expected them to bust out the
red
shirts at the merch booth.
See, that would have been my guess right there.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, there was a high probability.
I did not think, and I actually thought that Cole would come. I just didn't think they would pull the trigger on him tonight.
Yep, exactly there too.
But really, it was a great, you know, I thought it was a great sequence because here comes Cole, and Omega said it himself. He's like, "What did you expect?
Yeah.
We're great friends. We're the elite. You know, we're Bullet Club." Well, he didn't say Bullet Club, but you know, there's the connection there.
Exactly,
you know, and Cole, you know, he's a heel. He's a natural heel. Of course, he's gonna join the greatest group in the world, the greatest wrestling group.
Yep.
That nobody can touch.
Yeah, and there's no chance in hell of anybody stopping. So as he would say there. So.
And I like the little subtle nods to some of the being the elite stuff. Of course, Cole is supposed to be dead.
Yeah. So if you haven't got a chance, watch the latest Being the Elite. They were going to explain everything with that. So.
Of course, Omega's doing the speech where it's like, you know, nobody's on the people who are on my level either aren't here or they're already dead.
Yeah.
And of course, then here comes Cole.
And then, you know, Cole comes out there too. And then after he does his thing.
Says goodnight.
Or
tries to anyway.
And then you hear something quite familiar over the PA system there. So
I believe it was Flight of the Valkyries.
Yes. Just a brief moment of that there too. But everybody in the building knew what that was up, who was coming out there. And when they I'll tell you this, just when they put out Bryan Danielson's name on the Titantron there, everybody lost it.
I guess it would have to be the Tonytron.
The Tonytron, excuse me. Yes, the Tonytron there. But either
the
way, they saw his name
Jagstron.
flash, and everybody in that arena just lost their mind. You know, because, I mean, we all knew that was coming.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but it's almost like you know it's coming, but when it happens, it makes you so happy. Like, you know there's going to be presents under the Christmas tree. But when you see them and you know the big one is probably a PlayStation. So you open the little one first, and if it's a game, then you know it's a PlayStation.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's like, and again, just this idea of like all these things that it's almost like it can't be because everybody knows and everybody wants it and everybody expects it. And there's no way it could live up to like, you know, this is what everybody wants. So, you know, storytelling, we can't give them what they want because that's not a good story.
Yeah.
But it is. I mean, it's a great moment. This is what the people want, and this is exciting. I mean, everybody in the arena. We were out in the merch line, and everybody was doing the yes. I mean, you know, I mean, it's such a bizarre concept from the last, you know, 20 years of cynicism, but to give people what they want, to write it word for word the way they would write it, I don't know. It works.
Yeah. I mean, it's just I'm just seeing what had happened and just what went down, especially after that match. You just can't help but think of the possible matches that could possibly happen, you know, going forward here too, especially with any of the combination. I mean, just think about this here. I mean, you got a roster that is fully stacked, and now you add two high high quality caliber wrestlers in Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson. And not to mention the guy that we're going to talk about in just a minute here. Because I feel like that, just with that amount of star power and just the amount of talent in that roster there, too. I mean, the match combinations, endless possibilities.
Oh, they have matches. They really have matches for years if they want it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they only have the 4 big pay-per-views, but I mean, hey, any TV where you've got like a Punk versus Jungle Boy, which he teased at the end of Rampage during that little thing, or like obviously Kenny and any of these guys, Kenny and Danielson.
Yeah.
I mean,
Darby and Danielson,
Danielson
Cole and Danielson,
and that's the
Cole
nice thing
and
too.
Punk,
Yeah, it's not just these sort of 3 or 4 guys who are like you could label as ex WWE. It's like there's Darby, there's Jungle Boy, there's Orange Cassidy, even.
Sure.
I mean, they certainly have a level of talent that they might not have been WWE champion at WrestleMania, but it's a match that you want to see, and
Definitely.
That's really the goal at the end of the day.
Which which will also bring us to the very last topic here, and I saved this match for last because it's basically the biggest thing that's ever happened in wrestling in God knows how long. But let's talk CM Punk here. Let's talk CM Punk. I mean, before we get into the All Out match, let's talk about the first dance here.
Well, you and I were both there.
In
separate areas. I think
I'll tell you this. Yep, we were in separate areas, but I'll tell you this. I was one of those who actually had, I don't want to say doubts about his return, but we've seen Punk kind of do this before in the past too, and just considering what he's had to go through back in WWE, I mean, you'd think he would never just he would be done with wrestling, period. And of course, he had his brief moments in UFC, and just the time away, you just think, okay, he's not going to come back. But with especially with everything that's been going down leading up to the first dance, it's like there's no way this is it's almost too good to be true to happen there.
Oh
too.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought it would happen just based on some of the context clues. I mean, the one thing that really struck me, well, first of all, they're having a United Center debut for a Rampage, which is an hour-long show, which granted they taped a bunch of dark, but it's like, why would they do that if not for it was a little on the nose to be I thought.
Right.
But the other thing about it was just, Punk never came out and said, no, it's not true. And he always had in the past, like when he was at StarCast.
Sure.
Doing that interview, it was like, guys, I love y'all. I hate to disappoint you, but I'm going that way. I'm going to the city. I'm going back home. I'm not going to the arena. And of course, he didn't. So, and that was the moment when I was like, well, look, if he's done, he's done. I'm not going to pine for the guy. But of course, here we are, and like you said, I mean, Tony comes out right before Rampage starts, and he's like. All of you faithful who had faith in AEW, you'll be rewarded tonight, and I love you so much. And and then he comes out and pretty perfect moment. He cuts the promo. He explains himself in a way that isn't totally devastating to anybody else. I mean, he's always said, whether he's a jerk or not. I mean, he's always been honest about the fact that, look, what I do for me, and if I fell out of love with wrestling, that's what happened. But now I'm back. I mean, he said the words, I'm back. So
and this is one of the things. I can't speak for everybody who is a fan of CM Punk, but this is just like my take on him. And I've always felt that with Punk, he's always been real. Something that in society, and this may be off topic here, but, in society, we need more people like that. Just call it down the middle here, too. Just say whatever's on your mind and do whatever it is you want to do. Punk's been one of those guys who's actually been able to do that with the balls and to say that without without holding back, pretty clear, obvious, though. But he definitely spoke from... his it didn't seem like a promo. It just felt like everything was just all natural for him.
Well, he did say, I don't really know what I'm going to say, and that's how it felt. He kind of
exactly.
I'm sure he had his talking points and what have you, but I mean, he
sure,
he's just as these guys keep coming to AEW, and Danielson having his speech at the end of All Out after the cameras went off, and they all sort of effectively say the same thing, which is like, this is like the place to be. This is the place that really has the spark. And,
tell you, yeah.
I mean, again, not to disrespect the other company or anything like that, but I mean, somebody said something on Twitter that kind of struck me. It's like, back in the day when people were going to WCW, it's because they were getting huge checks thrown at them. And WWE has more money than they ever had before.
Yeah.
And they are certainly able to write a big check.
Yeah.
But a lot of these guys, I think even Danielson came out and said, look, they gave me a really good offer. They gave me a lot of money. They were going to let me do other stuff outside.
Yeah.
But they choose to go to AEW because that's like the place to be in the wrestling apex. That's like, I mean, I said this again, no disrespect to WWE, no console wars or anything, but you're talking about buzz. The buzz for AEW is up here.
Yeah.
And nobody's touching them.
No.
I mean, there's some good stuff happening with like GCW and other, like, Impact's getting a bump, New Japan's getting a bit of a bump. But like with WWE, I mean, you talk about buzz.
Yeah.
It's usually negative over something they've done.
Sure,
I mean, and that's, it's great that Lesnar's back, and it's great that Cena had the match in SummerSlam.
And Becky Lynch made her return
Becky's
too.
back, and SummerSlam was kind of cool, but again, just in terms of like daily buzz, weekly buzz, every night on social media, every show.
Okay.
Like, I mean, Becky coming back at SummerSlam, that's great, but it was also capped by the fact that it was a squash match that put her in the title picture. And like, Brock coming back is great, but then he doesn't show up on SmackDown for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And, I mean, if you're just talking about consistently, like, what is the wrestling world buzzing about? Like, there's no doubt it's AEW.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, nobody can touch them right now.
Exactly. But let's kind of go into the match that it was 7.5 years in the making with CM Punk and his first opponent, Darby Allin.
I don't have a whole ton to say about the match itself. It was a really solid match. Punk really hasn't missed a beat. They did a lot of, I kind of had an idea, but then somebody confirmed it on social media. They did a lot of references to the 1, 2, 3 Kid and Bret Hart. Some of the sequences.
I saw something about that on my Facebook there too today. I was just like, oh, okay, that's a nice little throwback there too. Yeah. Because I thought that was just a nice, shout out to that match, because I mean, at the time, at that generation, I can't say that I've lived through that to watch it, but I think watching replays of Bret Hart and the 1, 2, 3 Kid, I think it was highly regarded as one of the best matches on Monday Night Raw.
And I think they played the roles really well, because the story of the match, take away the fact that this is Punk's first match in 7 years. The story of the match is like Punk's trying to go, and Darby's trying to go too. He's not trying to impress anybody. He's just trying to win.
He's just doing his thing.
And, you play off the whole GTS coffin drop thing, which they did pretty well. Teasing each move, and Darby reverses the GTS into... what does he call it? That pinning combination? Where
the Last Supper, I think. That's what it's called.
And which is a really cool move. I mean, like I look at that move and I'm like, the guy's not kicking out of that. That actually looks like a pit. Like if you're trying to like keep somebody's shoulders on the mat, because when I was a kid, I was like, well, why don't they just like step on their shoulders or something? I mean, or just do this.
That's it. Yeah, I thought that was very unique. Just because it's like, I don't think I've ever seen a pinning combination with an actual as a signature move there too. I mean, the closest thing that that comes to mind, I don't even think you would classify it as maybe the Perfect Plex by Mr. Perfect there. I mean, because
it doesn't release it. It shoulders down,
or something like that there too. But I mean, I thought that was really
there's a few submissions you can kind of wrangle into a shoulders down, but it's usually like they're so far away that it's not that hard to kick out. And whereas this one, it was like, oh, there's no leverage at all. That's a great camera angle and everything.
Sure. Yeah.
And how do you feel about the fact that Punk won?
I expected that, honestly. I mean, it was just I felt like that they had to do that just because it's Punk's debut or Punk's debut in AEW, but Punk's return after 7 years there away from the ring. But I felt that was going to happen. But I wouldn't have been mad if he had lost, though, just because I think that
Yeah.
I think that I mean Darby did put on a great match, though. But I didn't think that it was like necessary for Punk to lose there too, because I felt like in order for his stock to grow a little bit more, he had to get the win, just so that way they can continue the buzz with him there.
Well, nobody wants him to like come back and lose his first match, even though you could kind of spin it like, well, 7 years back and everything.
I think people would say otherwise had he had lost. So it's like, oh, why didn't you have Punk win or anything like that?
Well, someone suggested to me that Punk would lose, but then Punk would like get the last laugh, like he would
actually turn heel. You mean, or just
well, not necessarily turn heel, but like get one last GTS or whatever, and be like, you got me, but hey, I'm not dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That kind of thing, which it's questionable.
They went the honorable route.
Yeah, between that and what we got, where you get the handshake and everything, and Punk gets the win, and Darby tried. I think I prefer what we got. I think it worked well.
No, I mean it was a great showing for both of those two. Darby just going out there doing his thing, and then Punk, even after 7 years away. I mean, he had a little bit of ring rust, but not so much that it was noticeable, though. So
I really didn't see. Well, granted, I'm in 11th row, but I really didn't see anything that was too egregious. No. Yeah, I mean, he was pretty slick, pretty solid. They really worked well together, considering.
I thought the chemistry was fantastic.
Oh yeah, I mean, they've talked about the similarities all week long, all month long.
Yeah,
so.
And I think even either Tony Schiavone or Jim Ross pointed this out, like after the match there too. It's just like, you know what? I think it may have been Excalibur there. Like he wrestled the best, and now he's going to come back. He's going to come away better than ever now, just for wrestling CM Punk there.
Oh sure, and again, that's where the commentary kind of. Not spins it, but that's like they bring context to the situation.
I mean, I think that that is truly the case though, because I mean, in order to be the best, taking a quote from Ric Flair, there is in order to be the best, you got to beat the best there too. Even though he didn't beat the best there, he got in with the best, and he went in there and gave it his all. So, and I think that alone will he'll increase his stock value, even more now. So especially after wrestling CM Punk. So, but I thought it was a good decision. I wouldn't have been mad had he lost. So, but the fact that CM Punk is back in professional wrestling after 7 long years. I mean, I'll tell you, I think just the move alone has changed the way that we looked at pro wrestling today now. So
it is kind of amazing that they managed to pull it off. I mean, it's something that, I mean, look, they sold out United Center based on a rumor, based on an unconfirmed thing.
Yeah.
And it's a testament, obviously this is Chicago, and it had to happen in Chicago, and you can't necessarily do that in Des Moines and expect the building to sell out.
Sure.
But it's a testament that they know what they're doing, I think. I mean, not just with Punk, but with bringing in these other guys. I mean,
just bringing in guys like Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, Ruby Soho, even some of the New Japan guys too. Especially getting like somebody like Minoru Suzuki to come.
Well, and some people say it's too much. It's oversaturation. You're bringing in all these now, underdogs who are now the veterans, and you're neglecting your original talent. But I really don't see that as the case. I think, the difference is when somebody comes in and you expect them to be a top guy and you expect them to make top money and get a certain amount of top creative versus, look, I mean, I just want to see Danielson versus Jungle Boy. I want to see Darby versus Punk. I want to see Cole versus Orange Cassidy, it's not necessarily a matter where Cole versus Cassidy is going to be a main event and Cole's going to big league him. That's not what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be a cool match. I think they're gonna have cool chemistry.
See, yeah, that's just it there too. I think that was also that was like the biggest, one of the biggest downfalls in WCW, which I'm sure a lot of people made some comparisons to there. So it's just like, oh, you're bringing all these guys that used to work for WWE, and now you're kind of you're just kind of like neglecting, like you said, like the original talent there too. But it's like, well, yes, there's maybe some money involved, but it's not. Like they don't have creative control over everything.
Tony said nobody does, not even Punk. So I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of think that I'd like to think all these guys are like really cool and are gonna go along with it, but the honeymoon has to end at some point. I know somebody's gonna say something.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but now,
well, we haven't crossed that bridge yet.
Hopefully not so egregiously. I mean, I don't think we'll have a situation, for example, where Austin is supposed to lose to Lesnar on TV.
Yeah.
And it's like then Austin takes his ball.
Yeah.
At least I hope not. But it does certainly, at least on the surface, seem to be a really cool environment that everybody's excited to be in. And
AEW is at the top of their game right now. So I mean,
time will tell. But
just enjoy the moment right now.
Real good times right now.
Yeah. Well, good times in AEW, but I don't know about the other side of the coin there. With WWE. I mean. That kind of leads us into our last topic here.
It's like I said, the buzz for WWE right now is like it's pretty not good. It's pretty negative when things come out.
I mean, let's be real here. I mean, is there really anything that's like worth watching these days in WWE? And I'm just saying that, like, I'm not trying to be a dick about it, but there really isn't. So
the last thing that I really felt like I gotta see Raw to see this live was The Fiend and what was gonna go on at Firefly Funhouse, because that was really special. It was really episodic even. It was very creative. And then, of course, they screwed it all up. But,
I just don't understand that, because, I mean, that was the moneymaker right there. And, I mean, I want to say Bray Wyatt had one of the highest merchandise sales in WWE shop. And
when you're thinking like a businessman, and this is true whether it's a billion-dollar company or the company I work for, if you're thinking about the money, I mean, it's like if you're expensive, then they can stand to get rid of. And this has always kind of been the WWE model where they feel like they make the stars. Like anybody can be a star. Anybody. Was it Vince or was it Hogan? And I mean, it was probably both. But anybody pushed like Hulk Hogan, merched like Hulk Hogan, promoted like Hulk Hogan, supply a hair dye like Hulk Hogan. Anybody theoretically anyway could have been Hulk Hogan.
Right.
And I mean, heck, I'll even use the AEW roster as an example. Look at all these guys that any one of them could be a top guy in any promotion necessarily. It's just the fact that they're all together. I mean, Cole could be the top guy. Punk obviously could be the top guy.
Brian
Danielson could be the top guy.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy could be the top guy if they had him win the championship. I mean,
go as far as say as maybe somebody like Jungle Boy could be.
He could be. I think he's a future top guy for sure.
Yeah.
I certainly hope so.
Oh,
down the road, even Brandon Cutler could be the top guy if they decided that
Sure, why not?
That the natural 20 could be like the moneymaker, and tie into that whole thing. So,
but I mean, it's just where does WWE go from here now? I mean, I think that's a big question, because we had Monday Night Raw yesterday, and I did not see it, but we were just talking about that earlier with Jeff Hardy, and it didn't seem like they really responded at all there with what they had to offer.
I think they're in full tunnel vision mode. I think they have a vision that's not thought out. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure they're cutting up scripts every night.
Yeah.
But I think they have a vision of what they think works and what they think is good, and sort of, not to use the phrase trust the process, but I mean, they have these initiatives now allegedly of like NXT is going to be different. We're going to sign all these athletes and make them stars, and not necessarily sign the indie guys and make them our kind of star. You know what I mean? I don't think that it is
shaking my
correct.
Head I'm shaking my head at this one.
I think I think that's just kind of the mindset they're in, and I don't know where Vince's head is at, but I feel like he's probably
there's debate to that. I feel like there's debate about that.
I mean, there's the rumors of possible sale. I mean, now people say Vince would never sell. I tend to think that Vince being Vince, having that ultimate final control and saying, this is what I built, this is what I created, and this is what I'm doing with it.
Yeah.
Especially if he was able to sell to like somebody like Disney or even NBC or whoever and say, look, the greatest media conglomerates in the world, and I sold to them. I cashed in with them.
That's very ego driven, but that's not doesn't surprise me coming from BKM there.
I mean, because I mean, it just feels like he doesn't really have he's always been very business minded, but there's always been a spark of like, this is what wrestling is. Like, I'm gonna make wrestling the business.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm gonna. Because if that was the case, he could have had any number of businesses.
Sure.
He's done the World Bodybuilding Federation and, Tout, remember that? That could have.
Yeah.
Man, can you imagine if that had blown up like that? And it really probably could have because they got rid of Vine and everything. But I digress. I mean, I think that spark that wrestling, I'm going to make wrestling the business now. It's like, well, the business happens to be wrestling, and I don't know what's in his head. I don't want to question his passion or anything. I mean, the man's there practically virtually every event, every night. He's still working out at midnight. I mean, but it's just, again, it's as simple as All Elite, things that fans speculate could happen, they happen. And then with Raw and SmackDown and.
Okay. Well, I mean, I will say this, though. There's clearly something going on in WWE that is putting people off in the wrong way. I mean, especially if you had a chance to see what Mick Foley had a chance to post on his social media.
Man, Mick has never necessarily been a company guy.
Yeah. But
he really pulled no punches in that video. It's like a minute long. And he's saying stuff. He's not saying stuff like, AEW's doing pretty good. He's saying stuff like.
No, he really laid it out on the table.
If I was a young talent, I don't think I would trust WWE Creative with my career.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much word for word what he said.
Yeah. And he used probably the best example in this in Karrion Kross because he was a beast in NXT. And, when they call him up to the main roster, which has been clearly known that when you get called up to the main roster from NXT, then they screw your character over there too.
Well, it's a real roll of the dice.
Yeah.
And you have like a 1 in 6 chance of kind of making it. Whereas Cross obviously, again going back to that mindset, Cross loses his first match, and now they've got him dressed up like American Gladiators if it was America during Mad Max.
And it's not just Karrion Kross. I mean, you got Keith Lee, Aleister Black or Malachi Black when he was Aleister Black. They really messed him up there. And there was another name here I'm thinking of here too that they really goofed up here on this.
It's not necessarily
quite a few. Dominic Dijakovic.
And shout out to Brennan Williams. Great black otaku. He's tearing it up out there. But I was going to say Shayna Baszler just because if you look at who Shayna was in NXT and now she's like the second banana in a virtually a comedy tag team. I mean, which is not necessarily a bad spot, but it's just like, she was presented one way, but now, as we alluded to earlier, she's just another person on the roster.
Yeah.
She can lose a match on Raw in 4 minutes. It's not.
Yeah, Karrion. I mean, I mean, with her, somebody like Karrion Kross. I mean, Karrion Kross looked like he was unstoppable in NXT, and now he just looks human right now.
Well, it wouldn't be so bad or quite as bad if it was like he was full call up.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he was losing to Jeff Hardy before he faces Samoa Joe for the NXT title, and it's like they're trying to like pretend that they're two different universes, and like it just doesn't work. They don't. That's the sort of thing that they never quite realized because they were always so paranoid.
Pretty much
that the internet was gonna not kind of with spoilers and everything ruin the way they present their TV. But then it's like, well, you can't just be TV product and then say, well, this happened on Raw, but this happened on NXT, and then this, and then
Sure.
So I think a lot of it's just disorganization. I really feel like creative's about as bad as it's ever been. Just because, not necessarily disrespecting the team, it's just they don't know what they want and they don't know what they need to be.
Yeah.
So
I think that, times have changed right now, and it's just like, especially within the wrestling business, it's just evolving to the point where I feel like creative in WWE is not keeping up with the times there.
Yeah.
And, especially, when you try to bring back, guys like John Cena or Brock Lesnar just for brief periods of time, or even try to get Goldberg into this picture here, which...
And we've got the Saudi Arabia show coming up.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I mean, to put it simply, I think AEW knows exactly what it is, but WWE doesn't right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they have a clue because they kind of go back to what they know, bringing back guys and doing the Saudi show and everything.
Yeah.
But generally, I think they're really shaken by what's happening. I think they realize what's happening. You can compare numbers all day, 2 million versus 1.2 or whatever, or 2.2 versus, but I mean, it's just not a numbers. It's not solely a numbers game. I mean, things have, like you said, things have drastically changed, and you can't necessarily do a ratings war anymore, even though. They're starting, the gap is closing.
And I mean, it shouldn't have to be that way with AEW there too. They don't need to say call out WWE outright there too. They just need to continue doing their thing right now.
Oh yeah,
what
exactly.
they're doing right
Most
now
definitely, yeah.
is they're pressing the right buttons and they're providing what they need or they want to the fans there too. And what the fans want is just good quality wrestling. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it.
I mean, there will always be fans of WWE because they present a product that is very familiar. That's very, it has a lot of goof. I love the goof. I love all that. When I was at Raw at the Allstate, I mean, there's plenty of families, plenty of kids. It's like the greatest day of their life. WWE has always presented all the way back from the beginning, superheroes that you can get behind.
Sure, of course.
And not necessarily, they could go out, there's a reason Hulk Hogan could go out and do 3 moves and be a multimillionaire. But I think in the modern era, when it comes to pure pro wrestling, I think AEW is where it's at. I think they understand that. They understand from an in-ring perspective. They understand from an interaction perspective. And they listen. I mean, look, AEW is far from perfect. They've made several mistakes.
Oh yes, that's something we can talk about another time.
Yeah, but I mean, again, if you look at the women's division, and I think they are building on those mistakes and they're growing on those mistakes. Whereas WWE, it's like every other day you hear something about they kind of know what fans were saying, but they're ignoring it, or the current plan is to continue this Goldberg feud, or even something just administratively, like allegedly they cut catering backstage, and an 8-year-old that loves Roman Reigns doesn't care if they cut catering, but you or I are going to look at that, or people who loved it when it was super popular back in the 90s and early 2000s are going to look at that and say, what are you talking about? They already, biggest sports league in the world where their talent has to drive their own rental car, rent their own hotel, pay for their own food now, pay for their own gym now, not all the time, but most of the time.
Of course,
I remember watching WWF Confidential, well, I guess it was WWE Confidential, and thinking man, these guys they're in limos, they're like the superstars in town when they come to town, and here's Bubba Ray and Devon checking into a Motel 6, and I'm like,
right?
Oh, all right,
But, that just kind of just sums up, just what's been just going on right now with, both companies there, too. I mean, one's trending upward. The other one's, I don't want to say in the steady decline, but I feel like with as big of a flagship as WWE is, they're going to find a way.
I'll say they are.
To stay at least level there, too.
I'll be that guy that says it because, I mean, again, you can talk about money. You can talk about promotion. You can talk about TV deals.
Yeah.
But when it comes to general interest and buzz, AEW is on the rise and WWE is on the decline.
Yeah, yeah.
And it might not be such sharp peaks and valleys, but it is happening.
Right,
and I
yeah.
think that's what Foley was trying to get at with that video, because Foley doesn't want to see WWE die.
No.
Foley doesn't love AEW more than WWE.
Yeah, I will say this. Like, with WWE, they have the talent to actually compete with AEW there, too. There's no question.
Sure. I mean, there's no stopping that juggernaut if you can get the right combination of ideas and the right combination of talent, and they certainly have a lot of talent.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. Like I said, they got a pool of talent there too that they could use. But the problem is just they're not using them correctly.
Yeah, and I mean, again, if you look at somebody like Roman Reigns, who is not exactly a 5-star wrestler, but he can go out and put on a pretty good match, and he can tell a pretty good story. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, even if the match isn't 5 stars, I mean, the story can bump it up to that.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, Roman's as good as he's ever been, with this character and this run and everything,
Right.
So I mean, as long as they continue to embrace those sorts of things and kind of see what works and what doesn't, but the problem is it all comes down to one man, and that one man thought the man should
the V-Man,
or agreed with the man that she should come back a bad guy. So that was a little
because
we'll see where that goes. But
because according to the V-Man, it has to be good shit. So if you get that reference there, so in order to fly. So
yes,
So I think we covered quite a bit here. Yeah,
most definitely. I mean, I so glad to be back live and wrestling.
It's a fun time to be a pro wrestling fan at the moment.
It is definitely. I mean, I'll just say it outright. People online are saying, All Out, comparing it to WrestleMania X7, and I don't know if I would go that far, but I mean, in terms of buzz and like excitement and like what people are going to remember, I mean, quite possibly. I mean, All Out is, for all intents and purposes, the flagship show.
It is,
and they really delivered this weekend, and I really,
in a big way.
I certainly hope they come back to Chicago for it. I mean,
I think they have to. They have to with the response that they have.
Now, I think you could probably get away with TV at the Now Arena and then pay-per-view at United Center.
It's possible. Yeah. It gives Tony Khan some ideas there. So, so
just make it a star-studded show, and they don't necessarily want to follow the WrestleMania model, but I mean, if you get more indies in town and you get more buzz, it's that buzz, man. I'm telling you, the buzz.
I tell you, if you haven't watched AEW at all, I would highly recommend looking into it, because I guarantee if you want good quality wrestling, good quality storytelling, they're gonna deliver. They're gonna deliver. I think it's to the point where WWE is starting to really lose a lot of interest in a lot of fans who used to watch their product. And now they want to go another route, because the product that they're offering is not of good quality. So
right, the product that they offer is very much their product.
Yeah,
and the product that AEW is offering is very much our product.
Yeah.
At least that's not to be too cheesy, but that's the perception anyway.
It is.
And I mean,
AEW
they're in a magnificent position right now, and barring a WCW level screw up. Like I said, there's no end in sight to this.
Knock on wood there. Yeah.
It's rise here, so.
That's why I was going to say.
Don't hire Russo.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense, but.
Right now, just keep doing what you're doing there, Tony Khan, and because right now your stock it's high right now, and I don't feel like there's any ceiling for what you can do there.
GCW hire Russo. I think that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh my God.
No, I actually genuinely think that would be pretty good. I think they could do it. But.
Yeah. It is what it is with that, though. So. Okay, I think that covers everything, though. Any final thoughts here, Brian?
Yeah, it's like I said, everything everybody's wished could happen, it's happening. So stay tuned. I mean, what can they do next? They got matches for years now.
We just got to continue this. We just got to continue this journey as wrestling fans.
Hoping we can be there live, and the crowd
very,
can be
very,
there to
very
react
fortunate,
to it.
very honored to have been there. To be there in person there too, because
definitely.
we witnessed something very special there, And AEW certainly provided that. So,
Yeah,
but thank
appreciate
you,
all
Brian.
the crew.
Yep. Thank you, Brian, for
Oh,
being
thank
on
you.
here. It was a great talk here.
My pleasure.
Quite a long talk here too.
Yeah,
so, but you
well,
know,
it's nice to talk about wrestling for more than 5 minutes again.
Absolutely,
That's like,
oh, absolutely. I think we went a good 2 hours, 2.5 hours here on this one here.
Ooh, maybe.
So I have to do a cheap plug for the rest of the crew here. But definitely, if you love wrestling and even cosplay, which we didn't really talk about too much here, check out Too Sweet Cosplay on Facebook and Instagram there too. We're not as active as we used to be, but I think we're slowly starting to get back into it there too. So stay tuned for more content there.
Yeah, more.
Shout out to Steve-O, Nico, EJV. For hopefully you guys hear this here too. So I'm just representing you guys here to the core.
Yeah, more cons opening up, more events opening up.
That's
We'll see y'all there, hopefully.
Hopefully
and,
there too.
Hey,
so.
Too sweet me,
Too
will ya?
sweet, yes sir. Oh, dang. All right, let's sign out here.
Good night, everybody.
See ya.